Everton 1, Manchester United 2.5. Should really have been 3, but Man United take the 3 points at Goodison Park. Jay Motti, that game had pretty much everything, didn't it? Except, I mean, really, any Everton chances? How did we almost draw 2-2 when they had basically no shots?
I don't know, right? And it's weird because I'm annoyed, right? We've won, and it's a good win, a big win, a much-needed one. Yeah. And, you know, there's been important parts of that win as well. Anthony on the score sheet again, Ronnie getting his 700th goal and Ronnie getting his first Premier League goal this season. You know, some great... Casemiro getting man of the match, or player of the match, I should say, sorry. But I am pissed off with that Marcus Rashford decision, bro. Because that one of those balls drops in at the end there and they get an equaliser and we've just been fucking robbed. Yeah. Right? Completely robbed. Because there is no way on God's green earth that that goal should have been disallowed for a handball. Right? Especially when you showed me that video. I was fuming when it happened anyway, because I thought they're going to equalise there. Yeah. We've been robbed. I was raging because I just thought it's not even an handball. What are you on about? And then when you showed me the Michail Antonio one from West Ham earlier today, where he basically gives himself a little nudge. Go on, son. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of that. And that goal stood. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. It's like they're going here. Let's make this game more interesting by not allowing this goal. Yeah. That's not what VAR's there for. No. VAR's just to call decisions that the referees missed. You know, blatantly obvious ones that are wrong. And that one wasn't. And yet they've just said, oh, no, we're going to chalk that off. Why? Honestly, mate, yes, I'm buzzing with one for the reasons I've said, but I still can't get over that. I still can't understand how you can have such inconsistency, not even during the season, during the day. I know. You know, from this afternoon to tonight, you've seen just one decision go one way and another go the other. And the Antonio one was a much worse handball than Marcus Rashford's one. And also the Antonio one, the handball was closer to the final ball being put in the back of the net. Antonio basically hands it down, takes a touch and puts it in. Rashford, the ball bounces off his arm, skims the inside of his bicep on the way to hitting his chest anyway. Then he still has to go round the goalkeeper. Then he puts it in. Yeah. Like, it's not as though he Thierry Henry's it and fucking arms it into his path and taps it in. Like, it's an accidental deflection when his arms are down by his side. Yeah. In the midst of a tackle, he then goes on, takes it past the goalkeeper and then scores, and you're disallowing it when that's so clearly not what the handball rule is for. He doesn't do it on purpose. He doesn't use it to gain an advantage. If his arm's not there, it would have just hit his chest. Yeah. It's like in this area, like up in his body. It's just ridiculous. It's like, well, we just expect players to not have arms, and then regardless of whether they do or not, one day or one game it's a goal, and the next game it's not. And like you said, it almost had the feeling of like, hey, don't overturn that. Keep it at 2-1 that way. Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Last 10 minutes, we'll get more viewers. Backs to the wall, and you know, Pickford going up for an equaliser and all that sort of stuff. And me and you was doing a watch along, and you called it because you know me in a watch along. I've always got something to say. For the last few minutes, I barely spoke because I was mentally, honestly, and I know this might sound a little bit ridiculous, but it's true. I was mentally preparing myself for that Everton equaliser because I thought I don't want to say anything on camera. I was so certain they were going to score. And I'm just thinking, I'm going to, you know that thing where you flash through, like fast forward in your mind. Yeah. Like, I can't be bothered reviewing this game. Yeah. I can't be bothered like going home and thinking about it on the drive home. Tomorrow morning as well. Tomorrow morning waking up and just thinking about it. I can't be arsed just watching the pundits and all that, trying to explain it away. And go, also, what would have happened as well is if they'd have got a draw, the whole thing would have been United weren't good enough today. Yeah. Because what I want to get to is, I think United were excellent today. I think up until that Rashford goal, because obviously that being overturned, it felt like it rocked us a little bit, which obviously that's a bit of a negative. Maybe we should have responded slightly better to that, because it seemed as though not lost our heads, but we sat back an extra 5 yards after that goal was disallowed. But I thought the first 70 minutes or so today, up until, you know, like I said, the Rashford goal going in or whenever that was, I thought United were excellent. And I thought that was as close as we've looked to how Ten Hag wants this team to play going forward. I thought Casemiro was strangely inconsistent, but did some spectacular things. The tackle and the through ball to Ronaldo just after giving the ball away needlessly. Yeah. But he had a very productive game today, even if it's slightly inconsistent one. Marcus Rashford running till the end. Anthony continuing to show his skill. Overlapping runs. Bruno Fernandes winning the ball back. Like pickpocketing the team. Even like I was saying on the watch along,
that's a team that was sitting back and defending for a lot of the game, but we continued to make chances because of the way we stretch the play. We go to one side, there's nothing going on here, we switch the ball, make overlapping runs on the other side, force angles continuously, bring Everton players out of their natural positions and exploit space in behind. We did it so well today in comparison to other games, and yet you leave the game, or we finish the game with almost a feeling of like, I'm still stressed. Yeah. I don't feel like we've won that, or what a nice relaxing game. Yeah. I thought United were excellent for most of that game.
No, I
think it's
agree.
worth mentioning that because this looked like a much more functional, well-drilled, well-oiled, well-coached side than we've seen in recent weeks.
I've actually got thanks for those quotes that you put on the screen. I've got them here as well. Bruno Fernandes has been talking after the game. He said that about the Ronaldo. He said, really happy because he has been working hard to get this goal. Today he got the goal and the win, and that is the most important for him, that the team won. It's his tough still counting goals for Ronaldo because every week seems like a new record. On Anthony as well, he said he's an amazing player. We knew the qualities he has. That's why the club paid that amount of money for him.
We'll get to Ronaldo in a minute.
Yep. But do get involved in the chat and the comments as well. And I know loads of people commenting. I will get to your comments in a minute as well, so I'm not ignoring you.
We'll get to Ronaldo in just a minute because obviously 700 goals is a staggering feat. But just on Anthony, he's surprising me with his consistency.
Yeah.
With his ability to influence pretty much every single match he's played so far for Manchester United, whether that be with goals, assists, intensity, like against Man City in the week. He looked one of United's few focal points that was exciting. Today again, another goal, another very well taken goal as well.
Yeah.
Are you impressed by Anthony after the first couple of performances where you thought, drifting in and out of games? I think he's been excellent for the last few weeks.
I like everything about him. And when we were linked with him, you were pointing out his defensive attributes and how he'll track back and get involved in that. And that's been good to see. He seems to get all over the pitch at times, which you need. You need that. He definitely, he has the work ethic that you'd expect from someone who's played under Erik ten Hag for, a couple of seasons, as he has done when he was at Ajax, of course. But the skill as well and the quality. And we've seen how players, after a big money move, can take time to settle. You saw it with Grealish at Manchester City. You went from the Premier League club to a different Premier League club. It took him a while to get going. And, some people would argue he's still getting going now. You see how Nunes, there was all sorts of question marks about Darwin Nunes. I know he got a goal today. But people say, has he been a flop and all this? And he's just come in and started scoring goals straight away. And he's not even a goal scorer. That's not just his attribute. He only scored 8 goals last season, I think, in the Dutch league. So to get, I think, 3 Premier League goals so far in 3 Premier League games against good opposition as well, Arsenal, City, and Everton away, that's not nothing you can dismiss. But just to watch him as well from a, just a simplistic fan point of view, he's just entertaining, isn't he? Yeah. He likes to run at players. He likes to get in the box. He likes to score goals. He gets stuck in. I love all that. Do you know what I mean? And you can see why Erik ten Hag wanted him. And people have been pointing out, and you pointed out, I know you were just sort of saying, like, is it the other kid we were linked with?
Cody Gakpo.
Cody Gakpo, who's got like 10 goals or whatever it is this season, has been mega productive. But Erik ten Hag knew what he was getting with Anthony. There was a reason he wanted him. And there's a reason why he was like, just get him at all costs if we can get him. And you can understand it. And it's been worth it so far. I know it's only obviously very early days. Yeah. But the biggest worry I had with someone like Anthony is he's going to struggle to sell. It's going to take time for him to get used to it. But he hasn't. He's just come in and he looks like a Manchester United player straight away. Yeah. And that's a massive relief, if nothing else, because it could have become a thing where people are going, he's a waste of money and all this other stuff. And no one's been able to say that at him yet. I know a few morons have, but no one's really been able to fire those shots at him because he keeps scoring goals and he keeps winning matches. And it's like, you know what? We can't really have too much of a go at him because he's been a very, very productive person for Manchester United.
Cristiano Ronaldo got his 700th club goal today.
That's just fucking stupid, isn't it?
That's like, you have world-class elite strikers who are world-class for 10 years in a row who don't get 300 career goals. Yeah. Wayne Rooney, one of the best strikers I've ever seen. Yeah. One of the few players at Manchester United in my lifetime.
United's top scorer.
Manchester United's top goal scorer. England's top goal scorer. One of the few players in my lifetime that you could take out of Man United's team and put in almost any team in history and he would improve them because of his goal scoring and everything. He didn't get 300 goals in his career.
Well, he did, but only just 313.
313. He didn't get 300 league goals in his career.
Yeah, no, you're right, sorry.
Ronaldo has got more
some of them,
double,
to be fair, some of them are in MLS and stuff
more
like
than double that.
Yeah,
it's like Wayne Rooney's a prolific goal scorer. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I think, has got 500 and something career goals. Yeah. Cristiano's got 800 plus. To get 700 goals for your club is absolutely astonishing in the modern era as well.
Yeah, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And you know, when you see people like doing the maths and working it out, and like you're saying, you know, imagine scoring 35 goals a season for 20 years. That's just unheard of. Do you know what I mean?
I can't really get my head around it.
That shouldn't be a thing.
No.
And that's the sort of rate of what he does. It is, man. I'm going to get loads and loads of comments and some super chats. So I'll get into them before I go back to you. Matt Novacic has been a member of the academy for 9 months. Says Luke Shaw is so frustrating. Why can't we have that effort all the time? Abhinav Verma says easy wally of the week. This stupid VAR. Paraz, who's been a member of the academy for 22 months, says great feeling to get 3 points tonight, but gents, what is the pound for pound best biscuit for tea drinking? Dunking, sorry.
Dark chocolate hobnob.
Dark chocolate hobnob. Oh, that's a shout. Do you know what? Do you know what I love? I just love ginger nuts. Do you know what I mean? A nice dunk ginger nut, bro. I'm there. Seriously. Yeah, Sim says Rooney only scored 20 plus league goals 3 times in his entire career, and I agree with you. He's one of the best strikers ever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so much more than goals, though. Rooney, you know, he played alongside the Premier League, got top scorer 3 times when it was like once when it was Van Persie, once when it was Berbatov, and once when it was Ronaldo. And all those 3 seasons, every season that I mentioned, we won the Premier League that season. We then win the Golden Boot and him playing alongside him. Not a coincidence. Just you know, a fantastic all-round player. Marcus has tweeted. Plus, he's put 3 points on the road. VR was questionable, but thankfully it didn't impact the result. He's been very diplomatic then.
Is it? That feels to me like he might get a fine for that. Do you know when you can't question any decision that's ever been made by a referee, and if you do, you get a fine? Hopefully he doesn't, obviously, but...
do you reckon?
Can I want to bring a human being into the room at the moment. There's a person, we briefly touched on him, but I want to get into his performance today. He was the official man of the match for the game. And that is my new favourite footballer of all time, Casemiro.
Yeah.
What an absolute ride it is to watch this man play football. Do you remember when Fred was deemed the sort of erratic, inconsistent defensive midfielder from Brazil that we would play?
Yeah.
Imagine it's Fred, it's just as erratic, but everything he does is like 2 notches higher quality. So he still gives the ball away, but not in his own box like Fred used to. And he can pass, but actually he can really pass.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, if everything Fred did was just a little bit better. Like, I'm in love with Casemiro after that game. Giving it away all the time, shit passes, but then some of the best tackling, pressing and passing that we've seen from a defensive midfielder at United in a long time. Winning the ball back 20 yards out from the opposition goal, putting people through on goal, like allowing us to play a high-line pressing game so much better than any other defensive midfielder we've had over the last few years. I think that inconsistency will hopefully go away a bit as he gets more used to the Premier League. But he's an immense player to watch for so many reasons, and Casemiro was really good today, wasn't he?
He was, and you know, I like the fact he does have that sort of inconsistency to him, but overall, he's class, and we saw that today. Yes, my favourite one was like you're saying, the goal, the Ronaldo goal. Yeah. Gives the ball away needlessly, then takes it off the geezer, and then plays an inch perfect 50-yard pass or whatever it was, or 40-yard pass. Just absolutely sublime, and you know. It's not easy starting a game at Goodison like that, being up against it, but he did a great job, and there's a reason he's won 5 Champions Leagues. He's just in different quality. Do you know what I mean?
Against a real sort of packed out physical midfield as well.
Yeah.
Onana, just an absolute giant. I mean, technically not the best, but physically we saw him chuck Casemiro on the floor at one point. I said this in the watch along. He was involved in everything for them. Giving the ball away, fouling people, nearly getting sent off, winning headers. I've never seen a player have the camera zoomed in on him more times in a game than that. honestly, it was absolutely unreal. But
it was.
Yeah, Casemiro was an absolute joy.
It was.
Ten Hag was speaking about him.
Yeah, we'll get into the quotes here. Eric Ten Hag, speaking after the game, said, "We saw during the game how important Casemiro is, or how he is, meaning Casemiro. He's composed, winning a lot of balls, winning also the ball for the goal of Cristiano Ronaldo. Good performance." Eric Ten Hag also went on to talk about Anthony Martial's injury. He said it was something different. He had a problem in his back, which is disappointing to see because we need something different. Yeah, we need to see him playing consistently. I mean, he's not, when's the last time Anthony Martial's played 3 Premier League games in a trot, or 2 Premier League games in a trot for Manchester United Football Club? Also on Varane, Eric Ten Hag said 4 difficult situations, and you see how important Rafa is there with his organisation and his heading capacity. Not easy as well, coming on late on in a game like that and having to marshal defence and deal with all those corners. And I'm glad we've got someone like Raphael Varane who's not going to be phased, is he? Again, like Casemiro, he's absolutely he shits Champions League winning medals. He's not going to be bothered about the last minute at Goodison Park. A Razza in the super chat says, "I still think Ronaldo would have gone to City if he left to his own devices. The fact he tried to go Atletico in the summer proves it." Gavin Barker says, "Need a right back desperately." Cody Stepp says, "The low was horrid today. Looked like a pedestrian Sunday League player." Talk MU, good to see you. Talk says, "Evening gents, win but bit it performance." It was a little bit frustrating at times, wasn't it, how easily we gave the ball away? Because I thought it was a good performance on the whole, but there was a couple of moments, especially I love Diogo Dalot, a couple of times when he gave it away, you're like, come on, Diogo, you can do better than that. Even Eriksen a couple of times, towards the end, I think he might be getting knackered, to be fair to him. And Casemiro, we mentioned, again, good performance, but times when you're like, oh, you've put us under a bit of pressure there. It's just those little things that maybe need ironing out, and that will take us to the next level.
Yeah, I think Delo had probably his worst game of the season so far. I thought he looked scrappy, and he looked the sort of player that we've seen over the last couple of seasons where on the ball you don't trust him to do the right thing. And I think that's one thing that Luke Shaw has over Malacia and over Dalot is when he's on the ball, typically he doesn't lose it. Off the ball is another matter for Luke Shaw, and I thought it was much better today actually. But generally speaking, he has problems with that. But Dalot doesn't have that, or in the past he hasn't had that, and he's looked so much better on the ball in recent weeks. But today was almost a glimpse at the sort of the old Dalot, and hopefully that's just a sort of old habits coming back up and recurring occasionally as we slowly get a much better version of Diogo Dalot that we've seen over the last few weeks. I'm not particularly worried about it, but yeah, he wasn't particularly good today, was he? He looked like, I don't know, he didn't trust himself on the ball, and he gave the ball away too many times. He putting Casemiro in difficult situations for the first goal. I think it was Dalot, wasn't it, who basically Casemiro was marked with no obvious pass on, and he gave it to him anyway. We lost the ball, ended up with the goal in the back of the net, the ball in the back of the net, and I just thought that, hopefully this was a sort of flashback to a previous life for Diogo Dalot, where he's an inconsistent right back, and hopefully he can iron that out and keep pushing forward, because he's been so much better in the last few weeks. Today wasn't his best, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. I mean, he still did some good bits, especially in the first half, but yeah, just a little bit sloppy. I felt like that was sort of the running theme. We put some good moves together, and then just, we seem to do a lot of the time where you do the hard bit, play yourself out of trouble, and then when you're sort of moving up the pitch and there's loads of space, just play it straight to a blue shirt. You're like, what's going on here? But we limited them. Everton just never really, other than like pumping long balls towards the end, looked in it, did they? No. Anthony Gordon was anonymous. Mopai, I didn't even notice him. No. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, they had that Anana character. He was involved in everything, but he didn't look like, it's not like you're going, oh my God, he looks a world beater. He was just there.
He was just very involved.
Yeah, and then you've got Jordan Pickford coming up for goals at the end of the, for the corners at the end. And even though I thought the sense of injustice was driving me mad, and I thought they're going to actually get an equaliser here, in the cold light of day, Everton offered nothing, really, at all. Getting some of the comments in the chat as well before we move on. That the gamer Pradhan says, "Come on, lads, handball reminiscent of Thierry Henry versus Ireland." Sarcasm, he says there. Yeah, exactly it was. It was. Dave Stottrup says, "Excellent, insane amount of mistakes in that game for both teams, but love those 3 points." I thought Everton made a lot more mistakes than we did. Make sure you are as well hitting that like button. Hit the like button. And Danny Shields, who's been a member of the first team for 22 months, says, "How can anybody have confidence in the officials when the handball rules directly contradict themselves?" It is very confusing, isn't it, with these handball rules, because, does any of you know what they are?
I thought that they changed it so that unless the person handballs it in the action of scoring the goal, so like you knock it down and tap it in, that it wasn't a handball for an accidental touching of the ball to your arm. Obviously, there Rashford doesn't mean for the ball to touch his arm. It's in the process of tackling the defender that the ball bounces up and hits him in the arm. He then, like I said, takes a touch, goes round a goalkeeper, wins another tackle or bobble with the goalkeeper, then takes a touch and then puts the ball in the back of the net. It's hardly like he's tapped it down to himself and volleyed it in using his arm. So I thought that that's what the rule was. I guess it isn't. Or if it is, it's not been adhered to. I don't know what rule could have changed since, obviously, Mikel Antonio did the exact same thing this afternoon, and that goal was allowed.
Everyone's saying as well about, is it Skamaka had a goal that did the same as well?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand it. I don't know. And the other thing I didn't understand is the referee didn't go and check the screen.
He must have been told.
Well, obviously he was just told, but there was no go and have a look. I suppose with handball it's meant to be slightly more binary, isn't it? Either it's handball or it's not. There's not much room for manoeuvre, but we know there is room for manoeuvre because there is accidental, or whether he means to or not, or whether it's over the arm of the line of the shirt, or whether it's in an action to score a goal. So there is some personality and nuance to it. So I don't understand why he didn't go and check it himself, but maybe that's just the rule with handballs. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. And it's unfair on Rashford as well, because I thought he was quite good today, and to get a goal like he often does would have put the game out of sight, and then we just had a needless 10 minutes of nervous defensive football when really it should have been a game that was won comfortably. And obviously that changes massively the feeling after the game, and how this result will be looked back on. But I just can't understand why that was overturned.
Yeah, excuse me. A few people pointed out, I do sound a little bit Darth Vader. Forgive me if my husky breathing is coming down the mic there. We're going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who joined us on the watch along and on the review as well. We're going to be hearing from Andy Tate now. Joe's going to be giving a little bit of a roundup with Andy Tate. He's got a few things to say, as you can imagine, about the injustice of that performance by the VAR officials, but also the good things that Manchester United did as well. If you're not doing, make sure you are subscribing to the Sloppy Joe's podcast, where you can find yourself, Joe Smith, Joe McGrath, and Ethan James. And also you can find me on the Scotty and Marty podcast, but mainly on this channel, right? So hit subscribe to this channel. We want to get to 700,000 subscribers, and with your support we can. Just before we wrap up, Danny Shields says, if the ball touches another part of the body before the hand, it's not a handball unless it's a goal scorer, apparently. If Marcus squared it to Ronnie, it wouldn't have been a handball. That's apparently well, that's what Danny Shields has said anyway in the chat there. So you can all make your own minds up about that one. Doesn't matter. We won anyway.
Yes.
So anyway, this has been the review. Manchester United winning at Goodison Park. Anthony scoring. Cristiano Ronaldo. It's 700 goals. Happy days. Thanks for watching.